canto is the fifth canto. But anyways, we have to finish up the fourth canto right now. So we will start with our invocation prayers and then we will go on to the cantos. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudiraye. Nashtaprayeshu Abhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya. Bhagavati Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtaki. Mukam Karoti Vachalam Pangum Langayate Girim. Yat Kripatamaham Vande Shri Guru Dinatarinam. Paramananda Madhavam Sri Chaitanya Ishwaram. Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda. Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Srimad Bhagavatam Granth Raj ki jai, Srila Gurudev ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Hare Krishna Mahamantra ki jai, Jai Guru Sitana Pramanande, Hare Hare Guru. So today our verse for the Srimad Bhagavatam is Canto 4, Chapter 1, Text 34. Okay, so all the table of the genealogical daughters of Manu and Shatarupa, of course, you all must have heard from the other Vaishnavas also about how they brought out progeny into, as great ingredients to the material existence under the instruction of Lord Brahma. So, what is their table or what is their progeny is what is being described over here. Shraddhatva Angirasa Patni Chatasro Suta Kanyaka Sinivali Puhuraka Chaturthi Anumatis. So the translation is Angira's wife Shraddha gave birth to 4 daughters named Sinivali, Puhu, Raka and Anumati. I think, Prabhu, since the purports are not there and no much explanation, we will go on to just knowing the names of all the genealogical daughters.
Hare Krishna Mataji. Yeah. Actually, we are into 34th sloka. Until this, only 2 classes over. So first chapter 15 slokas we took, and the second one I took from 16 to 33. Means it is all names only. First, the son, it's Swayambhu Manu, 3 daughters and 2 sons.
Yeah.
And in the Maitreya Muni say that we will discuss later. 3 Akuti's daughters were discussing. Then in between, and then Devaguti's daughters and whom they are married to, and then their children are now it is.
Yeah, that's what. Okay. The next generation.
So you can take as much slokas you want until we come to the time, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Fine. Yeah. Hare Krishna. So you can go to the next verse, Prabhu. Text 35. Tatputra aparav ashtam khyatau swarochi seintare utatyo bhagavan sakshat brahmitascha brihaspati. Translation. Besides these 4 daughters, she also had another 2 sons. One of them was known as Utatya and the other was the learned scholar Brihaspati. So, Mother Devahuti had actually all these, Manu and the different categories we are coming across. So all these daughters are, she had 4 daughters. I mean, the couple had 4 daughters and also had 2 sons. And one of the son was known as Tatya, and the other son was a scholar who was Brihaspati, and we know who is Brihaspati, who is the guru of the Devatas. Yeah, we can go to the next verse. Then text 36.
Something my
Network.
Sometimes it goes fast, sometimes. Maybe because of my system.
Yeah.
See, it's completely gone. 1 minute.
Net connection.
Yeah. Now it's okay.
Fine. Yeah. Text 36. Pulasyo janayat patnyam agatyam cha havirbhuvi sonya janmani dhagragni visravaccha mahatapaha. Pulasya begot in his wife Havirbhu, one son of the name Agastya, who in his next birth became Dahragni. Besides him, Pulasya begot another very great and saintly son, whose name was Visrava. So Pulasya Muni, so this is coming, the generation lineage is coming. Actually, it would be very good if the table was there, but the table is also too big, for us to completely picturize it in the screen. So here Pulasya Muni, one of the descendants, he got.
I try to draw in my office this chart and then stop it. Yeah. It's going. Okay.
It's going like anything, bro. So in his wife, he begot a son whose name was Agastya, and Agastya Muni, in his next birth, he became Dahragni. And other than that, Pulasya begot another great son also, and his name was Visrava. So these are the 2 sons of Pulasya which is mentioned, that is Agastya Muni and Visrava. Next, the next verse, I think 37. Tasya yaksha patir deva kuberasva idavida sutta ravana kumbhakarnascha tatan yasyam vibhishanaha. Visrava had 2 wives. This is where the interesting situation starts. Visrava had 2 wives. The first wife was Idavida, from whom Kuvera, the master of all yakshas, was born. And the next wife was Keshini, from whom 3 sons were born, that is Ravana, Kumbhakarna, and Vibhishana. So this is the situation of Vishrava. Vishrava was actually a Brahmana. That is because he was the son of Pulasya Muni, of course. So Vishrava was a Brahmana, but he had 2 wives. One wife was, of course, a very good saintly person, and the other one, that is Keshini, was a Rakshasi. And Keshini gave birth to 3 children, that is Ravana, Kumbhakarna, and Vibhishana. And Idavida's son, that is the first wife's son, is Kuvera. So we know the story of how Ravana had, taken the Pushpak Viman somehow by fluke from Kuvera, and all that episodes we all know. So it is just under the impression that he is the brother. Okay, they are co-brothers, but this is how the father, who's a Brahmana, had 2 wives. So one is, of course, a saintly wife, and the other one was a Rakshasi. But though this Keshini, she was basically a Rakshasi, she had good qualities actually. But somehow Ravana and Kumbhakarna is also a very saintly person, was a very saintly person. But he was so much surrendered and dedicated, or he was loving Ravana a lot. So that is why he helped Ravana in the Rama Ravana Yuddha actually. But even though he helped Ravana, he had warned Ravana, or rather given counsel to Ravana, that give Sita back. We don't want her. You have a harem of wives already. Why do you want Sita? So he had already told, but since Ravana's instruction was there, so Kumbhakarna thought that he should not defy his brother. So therefore, he fought the battle and left his body. So this is how Keshini. Keshini also was a very good mother. She was actually counseling and bringing up Ravana in a very good manner only. But certain basic instincts are there, and also the karma of Ravana was also there. We know the three births Jaya Vijaya had to take. So one of them is there. So therefore, this also had to happen. So Vishrava, who was basically Brahmana, son of Pulastya, gave birth to so many different children through two wives. So this is how the lineage is keeping on going. Now we'll go on to the next verse. Pulahasya gatir bharya rin asuta sati sutan karma shreshtam variyamsham sahishnum cha mahamate. Gati, the wife of the sage Pulaha, gave birth to three sons named Karma Shreshta, Variyan, and Sahishnu, and all of them were great sages. So, Purport by Srila Prabhupada, Jai Srila Prabhupada. Gati, the wife of Pulaha, was the fifth daughter of Kardama Muni. She was very faithful to her husband, and all her sons were as good as he. So here Gati, coming down the whole lineage again, Gati, who was the fifth daughter of Kardama Muni. So she was married to the sage Pulaha, Pulastya. All these are sages who are actually staying in the upper planetary systems, and they come down to the material world only when there is some when they are given some project, like bringing down the souls, or rather, giving Krishna, giving God consciousness to the souls, or providing an atmosphere of yajna, something like that. Then only they come down from the upper planetary systems. I think they are staying in the Janaloka, and then when it is time for them to come or they have some agenda to do as per the higher instructions, then they come down to the mortal world, and then they do their required agenda, and then they just go back to the upper planetary systems. So Gati, she like this, who is the fifth daughter of Kardama Muni and mother Devahuti, she gave birth to three sons, and all of them were really great sages, and they had the characters of their father, who is Kardama Muni. So this is how the family lineage is just getting spreaded off. Then we'll go on to the next verse. Yeah, 39. Kratorapi kriya bharya bala kilyan asuyata rishin shashti sahasrani jwalato brahma tejasa. Kratu's wife, Kriya, gave birth to 60,000 great sages, named the Valakilyas. All these sages were greatly advanced in spiritual knowledge, and their bodies were illuminated by such knowledge. Kriya was the sixth daughter of Kardama Muni, and she produced 60,000 sages who were known as Valakilyas because they all retired from family life as Vanaprasthas. So now we know what is Vanaprastha Ashrama. That is after their Grahastha responsibilities are over, and the couples, they go and enter into Vanaprastha Ashrama. Now Vanaprastha Ashrama is totally in the olden days, which cannot be practiced nowadays in Kali Yuga. In the olden days, the means to it was that they had to go to the forest, do meditation, and then stay in the forest with whatever requirements they can, whatever less requirements. You're not going to get the Grahastha lifestyle there. That requirements, and then you will have to, from the Vana only, you will go back home, back to Godhead. This is how their stature was. So Kritu's wife, that is, sorry, Kriya, she was the sixth daughter of Kardama Muni, and she was Kritu's wife, and she gave birth to 60,000 great sages, and altogether they were called as Valakilyas. And though they were sages, they could enter into, or they did enter into the Brahmacharya, Grahastha, and then finally the Vanaprastha stage of life. So sages are there of different range. Some of the sages, they desire to take a wife who will help them to support them in their God conscious activities. And some sages, they stay as brahmachari, and so they will just pursue their life in a brahmachari and then sannyas and etc. like that manner. We know of like Vishwamitra Muni, he became he became a Grahastha, then later on he became a Vanaprastha, and then later on he took sannyas. So like that, different sages are the same way. These Krutu, Pulastya, Pulaha, all these were sages who took a wife and brought out children, made them into, or gave them God consciousness, and after that they used to depart from the material world. So it is not that if they are sages, doesn't mean that they are just taking on to sannyas. So sages also means that staying within their ashram, whatever ashram they are following, staying within that ashram, still they practice God consciousness and they depart to the spiritual world. So therefore, this particular title for Valakilyas was only because they were Vanaprasthas, all these 60,000, they took up to Vanaprastha, and so then they practice their God consciousness. So we'll go on to the next one. Text, 40. Urjayam janire putra Vashishtasya parantapa Chitraketu pradhanaste Sapta Brahmarshayo Malaha. The great sage Vashishta begot in his wife Urja, sometimes called Arundhati, 7 spotlessly great sages, headed by the sage named Chitraketu. So now Vashishta Muni, we know who Vashishta Muni was, the guru of Lord Rama also. Vashishta Muni in his wife, 2 names of hers are given. So this couple, they had 7 sages, 7 children, as the 7 great sages they had given birth to, and the eldermost was Chitraketu. Now this Chitraketu is not the Chitraketu whom we have in the 6th canto. It's a different Chitraketu totally. So this is another side by side family tree going on. Now next verse. Chitraketu surocischa virajamitra evacha ulbano vasubridhanyo dyuman shakti adayopare. The names of these 7 sages are as follows: Chitraketu, Surochi, Viraja, Mitra, Ulbana, Vasubridhyana, and Dyuman. Some other very competent sons were born from Vashishta's other wives. So Urja, who is sometimes known as Arundhati and was the wife of Vashishta, was the 9th daughter of Kardama Muni. So this 9th daughter of Kardama Muni was married to Vashishta Muni, and Vashishta Muni also had other wives. So only from the daughter of that is our Kardama Muni, who are the children that they have begotten has been mentioned over here. That is these competent 7 children who were also later on became sages. Yes, the next one. Chitistva atharvana patni leve putram dritavratam dadyancham asvasiram sirasam brigor vamsham nibodame. Chitti, wife of the sage Atharva, gave birth to a son named Ashwashira by accepting a great vow called Dadanyancha. Now you may hear from me about the descendants of the sage Bhrigu. The wife of Atharva, known as Chitti, is also known as Shanti. She was the 8th daughter of Kardama Muni. Now the 8th daughter of Kardama Muni, she who was married to Atharva, a sage, they gave birth to a son who was Ashwashira. And he got, or he was known as Ashwashira because they had undergone a particular war. And the name of the war is also mentioned, that is Dadanyancha. So this means to say that there are couples in this particular family tree. There are couples who have taken up certain austerities to bring about children. And there are couples who, by means of their own tapobal, they have created children and made them into sages or gave them God consciousness. Now, now we are going to see the descendants of the sage Bhrigu. That is the Bhrigu Muni is the next family tree whom we are going to see. 43. Bhrigu Kyatyam Mahabhaga Patnyam Putrana Jijana Dataram cha Vidataram Shriyam cha Bhagavatparam. The sage Bhrigu was highly fortunate. In his wife, known as Khyati, he begot two sons named Data and Vidata, and one daughter named Shri, who was very much devoted to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So Bhrigu Muni, he had got two sons. Their name was Data and Vidata, and also one daughter whose name was Shri. Shri means another name, Shri. I mean, another meaning of Shri is also Radharani, and another meaning of Shri is also Lakshmi. So, and now this Shri, she was very much devoted to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So this is Bhrigu Muni's short family lineage. Next, we are going to text 44. Ayatim niyatim chaiva sute merustayoradat tabhyam tayora bhavatam mrikanda prana evacha. The sage Meru had two daughters named Ayati and Niyati, whom he gave in charity to Dhata and Vidata. Ayati and Niyati gave birth to two sons, Mrikanda and Prana. So, the sage Meru had, now this is another lineage of Meru. So, sage Meru, he had two daughters, and these two daughters were given in marriage to Dhata and Vidata, who was the son of Bhrigu Muni's children. And these two girls also gave in birth to, in turn, two other children, that is Mrikanda and Prana. So here it is mentioned whom he gave in charity. Charity means that not the type of charity which we put it for the beggars. Here charity means doing kanyadan. So that means to say when we are offering or when we are giving the girl in marriage, that is actually we are giving a great what do you say? It is in our words we can say charity, but we are actually giving a great treasure to that boy or to the boy's family, and that danam is called as kanyadan. So that is the name. So when the parents give a girl in charity or a kanyadanam, that time because they have given this particular charity, they gain loads of punya karma for that. So just like in Srimati Radharani's marriage, when Srimati Radharani was given in charity, that is kanyadanam was done of her in marriage. So that time Vrishabhanu was actually, he actually gained so much loads and loads of punya karma. So that is why kanyadanam is a very important aspect in our devotional service as well as in our material life. So this, without doing this particular project, the parents who have kanyas should never leave the material world. That is how it should be. So the next one. Markandeyo mrikandasya prana vedasi ramuni kavischa bhargavo yasya bhagavan ushana sutaha. From Mrikanda, Markandeya Muni was born, and from Prana, the sage Vedashira, whose son was Usana, Shukracharya, also known as Kavi. Thus, Kavi also belonged to the descendants of the Bhrigu dynasty. Now, when we see 10th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, in that also all these names are mentioned, wherein the Lord says that Usana, that is all those names which are mentioned in the 10th chapter, wherein Krishna says, I am that, I am Vedashira, I am the Usana Kavi, I am the, amongst the trees, I am the, which tree is this? Banyan tree or something he compares to. So all these are actually, though the family lineage is there, but where the main person in the family is there, it is the Lord who is representing them. So the main person is actually represented by the Lord only. Now here, from Mrikanda Muni, Markandeya Muni was born, and from Prana, that is another stage, his own son, that is Shukracharya, was also born. Now, so thus Kavi also belonged to, that is Shukracharya also belonged to one of the descendants of Bhrigu dynasty. But unfortunate that Shukracharya started favoring the demons, thinking that there is nobody to save them, there is nobody to guide them. But that guidance was also wrong at the time. So anyway, so Sangat Sanjayate Kama. So that is there. Then the next verse 46 and 47. Tahete Munaya Kshatar Lokan Sargaira Bhavayan Esha Kardama Dauhitra Satana Shantana Katitastava Shrinvata Sraddadhanasya Sadhya Papa Haraparaha Prasutim Manavim Daksha Upayemehi Ajatmajaha. My dear Vidura, the population of the universe was thus increased by the descendants of these sages and the daughters of Kardama. Anyone who hears the description of this dynasty with faith will be relieved from all the sinful reactions. Another of Manu's daughters, known as Prasuti, married the son of Brahma named Daksha. So here Vidura is being told that the population, so the whole universe coming down from Manu and Shatarupa, the whole universe was totally getting populated by the descendants of the sages as well as the daughters of Kardama Muni. The whole earth was totally getting filled up, and the Brahma's main source of creation or job of creation was being done. So anybody who hears all these these genealogical expansions with great faith, Prabhupada says that all their sins are totally eradicated. Now, another of Manu's daughter, who is also Akuti, Prasuti, Devahuti, and how many daughters, Prabhu? I forgot.
Three only.
Three only, na Prabhu? Akuti, Prasuti, Devahuti, yes. So another of, so the next daughter of Manu, that is Prasuti, she was married to Brahma's son, that is Daksha. And then we know Daksha Prajapati, how Sati came and all that different situations. Okay, we'll go on to the next one. Tasyam Sasarja Duhitra Soda Samala Lochana Trayodasada Dharmaya Tattekam Aganye Vibhu. Daksha begot 16 very beautiful daughters with lotus-like eyes in his wife Prasuti. Of these 16 daughters, 13 were given in marriage to Dharma, and one daughter was given to Agni. So Daksha, he had got Daksha and Prasuti together. He had got 16 daughters who were all quite spick and span and beautiful. And of that, 13 were given to Dharma, that is, we know the epitome of Dharma, and one daughter was given in marriage to Agni. So totally 14 were given, then 2 more were left. The next verse. Pitrabhya ekam uktebhyo bhavaikam bhava chiddhe Saddha maitri daya shantis Tushti pushti kriyonatihi buddhir meda titiksha hrir murtir dharmasya patnyayaha sada shraddha suto subham maitri prasadam abhayam daya shantim sukham mudham tushti svayam pushtir asuyata yogam kriyonati dharpam artam buddhir asuyata Meda Smriti Titiksha Tu Kshemam Hri Prasarayam Sutam Murti Sarva Gunotpatir Nara Narayana Vrishi. One of the remaining two daughters was given in charity to the Pitraloka, where she resides very amicably, and the other was given to Lord Shiva, who is the deliverer of sinful persons from material entanglement. The names of the 13 daughters of Daksha who were given to Dharma are Shraddha, Maitri, Daya, Shanti, Tushti, Pushti, Kriya, Unnati, Buddhi, Meda, Titiksha, Hri, and Murti. These 13 daughters produced the following sons. Shraddha gave birth to Shubha, Maitri produced Prasada, Daya gave birth to Abhaya, Shanti gave birth to Sukha, Tushti gave birth to Muda, Pushti gave birth to Smaya, Kriya gave birth to Yoga, Unnati gave birth to Darpa, Buddhi gave birth to Artha, Meda gave birth to Smriti, Titiksha gave birth to Kshema, and Hri gave birth to Prasraya. Murti, a reservoir of all respectful qualities, gave birth to Sri Naranarayana, Supreme Personality of Godhead. So wonderful lineage. So now we know that 13 daughters were already married. Now the 14 daughters were already married. Now the 15th daughter, she was given to one of the occupants of Pitraloka, and there she is, serving her husband. And the other one, that is our Sati, she was given to Lord Shiva in marriage. And the different lineages of the 13 daughters and their children, everything has been mentioned over here. And the origin of Naranarayana Rishis, that is, who was their mother, was Murti. So she is the one who gave birth to Naranarayana Rishis and had trained her children in God consciousness. I think we had a class of Naranarayana Rishi long time back.
Yes, yes, Mataji. In the Badri Ashram, how they went, how they special class, yeah.
Yeah, so Naranarayana Rishis, of how they were facing Sahasra Arjuna, Sahasra Bahu, something was his name. So how they faced, and finally they brought Dharma. They again established Dharma over. Naranarayana Rishis were staying in Badrikashrama and up in the high ranges of Himalayas, and they were totally very strong in their tapobal. But at that time, down in the material world, the Sahasra Arjuna, Kartivir Arjuna, some Sahasra, a demon who has thousands of hands.
Yeah.
I forget his name.
Sahasra
Bahu, something like that was his name. He had so many names. Some Sahasra only he is having. And Naranarayana Rishi, we know, is a combination of Krishna and Arjuna. And Sahasra Bahu is a combination of Karna and Suryadeva. So, so therefore that element is there in him. So therefore, they had one over Sahasra Bahu, and they brought up again, established Dharma. And Indra had sent all his dasis to get, to attract Naranarayana Rishi, but they never got attracted, because Indra is always tensed. If somebody is doing very kator tapasya, Indra gets tensed. So Naranarayana Rishi, of course, they don't want any Indra Padavi or anything like that. But Indra, if he sees that anybody is doing great austerities, then he gets tensed. So he sends his girls and everything. And at that time, Naranarayana Rishi, they were doing tapasya. So the Naranarayana Rishi said, see, by all these girls, Indra, I am not going to get perturbed. You do one thing. I will give you one girl free. And then from the thighs of Naranarayana Rishi, Urvashi was given birth, or rather she was made to appear, and then Urvashi, was given as a gift to Indra. You take her also, but spare us. And then all the damsels, they went back to Indraloka so that Indra could enjoy them. So this is much more is there, potency of Naranarayana Rishi. Then Then we'll go on to the next verse, 53. Yayor janmani ado vishwam apyanandad sunirvrutam manam si kakubho vatha prasedu sarito drayaha. On the occasion of the appearance of Naranarayana, the entire world was full of joy. Everyone's mind became tranquil, and thus in all directions the air, the rivers, and the mountains became pleasant. So, in the appearance of during the appearance of Naranarayana rishis, what happened is that when great personalities are born, that time the earth itself finds a welcome. Just like we know that when Krishna was born, Mahaprabhu was born, how the atmosphere or how the earth itself reverberates a lot. That there's a positive vibration. Same way, before the appearance of Naranarayana Rishi, there was so much of uneasiness in the material world. So that is when what is a Murti, she she gave birth to Naranarayana Rishi. So when she gave birth to Naranarayana Rishi, what happened is that the atmosphere of the earth itself totally changed. When the atmosphere of the earth totally changed, that time itself the people were feeling just like, in the hot atmosphere, something cool breeze is coming. So that was a good sign for them. So as soon as Narayana Rishi was born and they started doing their tapasya and great austerities and everything like that, the people itself of that area, they approached Narayana Rishis and told about the Sahasrabahu. And then Sahasrabahu was defeated with great penance because they were great. Narayana Rishis were very great austerities, really personalities with very great austerities. So much of tapobal they had. So after a long time, they defeated Sahasrabahu and they brought tranquility, in the area so that people can practice their devotional service and their God consciousness. Then, Prabhu, shall we go on to the next, or do we have, do devotees have anything to ask or any suggestions?
Yeah, better, Mataji. Devotees, any questions, comments on this? From 54, we'll take next.
Oh, yeah.
New name. Dance Soul. I don't know who is that, Mataji.
Okay.
So it's very detailedly given.
Yes.
Is this Devanjali, Dance Soul?
Yes, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Devanjali, no?
Yes.
Okay. Haribol, Haribol. She danced in front of Lord Jagannath in Jagannath Radhyatra Mataji in West Bengal. Amazing dance. Oh.
Is it? Is
Yeah,
it?
the whole crowd was looking at her dance in front of Jagannath.
Very good. Great fortune.
Yeah.
It's your blessing, Prabhu.
So humble. Nice. So Mataji, actually, what is the purpose of a devotee to know all this, Mataji?
Prabhu, actually, we saw that. See, now when we are always hearing what, this is my understanding, Prabhu. We know about Ravana, we know about Kumbhakara and everything. But at a certain point of time, or some couple of years back, I know the whole of Ramayana, I know whole of Mahabharata. But I never knew that Ravana's father was a Brahmana.
Okay.
I never knew. I was quite shocked. I thought he's basically from a Rakshasa family. I mean, we know about Ravana when he took away Sita. This is all we know. But later on, that lineage we do not know. But it is quite essential for us to know that even though born of a Brahmana father and a Rakshasa mother, but still Vibhishana has got the good qualities. But Ravana never got anything. And Kumbhakarna was mediocre. He was mediocre. So that is why this particular lineage, that it is not enough that we are born in a good family. We should get the good culture of the family also. Like, previously, now I am basically from a Nair family, but previously in our colony, that is in India, in the colony, what happened is that there is this Brahmana Samajam. Okay, and now they are our neighbors and they know that we do not eat onion, garlic, nothing. They know that. So they call us for their yajnas or anything, but they have a what do you say, rigidity that the yajna kunda, we do the ahutis we do, no? So that they will, when we are going to do, they say, no, you are not Brahmanas, no, so you should not come and put. But we are much better than them. We do not have tea and coffee. We do not have onion and garlic. We are chanting our rounds constantly. We are taking our ekadashis, taking our austerities.
Vaishnavas are above Brahmanas.
Yeah, that they do not understand. So according to them, Brahmana is the higher class. But that is because of their lack of understanding. So here, just being a Brahmana is not enough. It is necessary that we have the Brahmanical culture. That is what is quite important. So here, Vishrava Muni, he was a Brahmana by birth, but he never got children, rather Ravana and Kumbhakarna, etc. He never got children who were totally, God conscious. But at the same time, it is a Lord's intervention. That is, Ravana had to be born in this particular family. So, because Ravana is who? He is, in the previous birth, he is a devotee of the Lord only. He is Jaya Vijaya. So therefore, that is also an arrangement of the Lord. So family lineage is quite important because we know that Shatarupa and Manu, from them how it is coming down. Just like, if you so ask the first chapter of Bhagavad Gita, who are fought on that side, who are fought on this side, that we do not want to know. But what is the mentality of those who are fighting on the other side? It is not that those who are totally supporting the Kauravas are against Krishna. It is not, or against the Pandavas. It is not like that. There were people who were, even including Bhishma, there were people, and Shalya, they were forced to support the Kauravas. But but mentally they were attached to the Pandavas. So this is why that particular bifurcation is very much important also. And I think in Bhakti Shastri courses, they would have very greatly elaborated why we need to know the first chapter of Bhagavad Gita. I don't know. I just attended a few courses so that is why from that is little remembrance I am just telling. So yes, this particular lineage is just for us to know the family tree, because just like I said, I never knew Ravana was born of a father who was a Brahmana. So I was thinking that he is a useless Rakshasa sitting in the nether regions. From nether regions he came up and all that. But later on when I read this is what I came to. Just for our knowledge, that's all. Nothing much in detail.
Any other questions? And if in the material perspective someone reads, these are all not correct like that, it will show in the beginning. Because long time before one question came, Brahma is the first creation.
Yeah.
And the beginning started. Shatarabhav is married to Swayambhu Manu. They are siblings actually.
Yeah. Correct.
So it is abominable in modern days. And after that, Atri Muni had 2 children. And Swayambhu Manu said, when you get a son, you have to give back to me.
Yeah.
And who were they? Yagya and Dakshina. These 2. Yagya is Lord, Supreme Lord itself. And Dakshina is Mother Lakshmi. So, and then though they are twins born together, they are again married.
Yeah.
And then here in today's way, when you are reading, I was watching. One sibling, one Muni's 2 boys were married to his sister's children. So the first cousin.
Yes.
So when this refinement came then, because see, first cousins, siblings, And then finally, now these are all, if anybody thinks about this, is abominable.
It is abominable, yeah.
The refinement.
Yeah. The thing is that, Prabhu, previously, when the family lineage was just getting started, the expansion was slowly happening. The main purpose of man and woman coming together is only for population. That is the only criteria. Even now, for us also, we have why we have these regulative, not regulative, why we have the samskaras and everything, is that man and woman should unite only for the sake of creating of populace. That is it. And making them Krishna conscious. That is the sole. But now, because of in the Kali Yuga, the trend is that first of all, first cousin, sister, that way is there. And secondly, biologically also, if you see blood, blood relatives, they also have diseases and all that. That is a trend of Kali Yuga. That is a character in Kali Yuga. So therefore, it totally got bifurcated slowly. But still, it happens. First cousins, second cousins, like that marriage. Sometimes they keep, they say within the family. Sometimes some rare families still do that. Because so that they don't have to give their property outside to somebody. All that sort of certain curved mentality is still there in some families. It means to say that it is not very wrong, neither is it very right, biologically, if you say. But the main reason for a man and a woman to unite should be only for creating populace, and that populace or the children should be totally brought in God consciousness. That is the underlying factor. The rest and all is just permutation combination.
I was hearing to lecture of one of the Prabhupada disciple, Mataji. I don't remember her name. She was saying in the beginning, there were no congregation like what we have, the families, devotees and the children devotee living together. There was no, in Prabhupada times, only temples, ashrams only. So when they got married, they started living outside and they were alienated, like very difficult. So then the Madajis and Prabhu said, we want to be with you only, Prabhupada. We have to be in temple only. That's not allowed. You are family now. You have to do that. Then the arrangement was like this. The temple, brahmacharis, sannyasis will stay, and there will be male quarters where all male devotees will stay. That is different. And then female quarters will be there outside, where female and children will be there. Child of that lady will be there. So if someone get married, immediately they will not go and take a room and stay together. They will go to the women ashram, men ashram. And then they both decide, okay, let's have a child. And then they take an out. The moment they get the child, the man goes back to the men ashram. The woman goes to female ashram, and the child grows there. That was the system. Amazing, Mataji, in the Kali Yuga. And then after some years, 3 or 2 years or 1 year, even whatever time, they decide, let us have one more child. Then again they come back. And then take another system, live for together. The moment they beget a child, then again they go to their ashram. And this Urmila Mataji said, we were together only for getting the 3 children. And then once we get 3 children, I came with all the 3 children to the ashram, and Prabhu was serving in another temple work for a long time. And then naturally they took Vanaprastha.
Yeah.
Very young age only, they were saying. We can't even think, even in the devotees, when the congregational devotees came, when they enter into the Krishna consciousness with the 3 children, 2 children, who all were meat eating and then struggling to survive, they cannot contemplate what Prabhupada's system was.
Yeah, correct. Yeah,
any questions? Me and Mataji were discussing. Hare Krishna.
All the videos are off. I don't know who.
Yeah. Maybe they are hearing and doing some service. Okay, Mataji. Thank you so much,
Fine.
Mataji.
Thank you, Prabhu. Hare
So
Krishna.
you took up to 53.
Yes, Prabhu.
Okay.
Vancha Kripā Sindhu Vaišnavebhyo Namo Namah. श्रीमद् भागवतम ग्रंथराज की जय, श्रील गुरुदेव की जय, श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय, हरे कृष्ण महामंत्र की जय, साई गौर सीतानाथ प्रेमानंद, हरि
Hare
हरि।